Excellent.
Nice.
Here we are.
It's a night pod.
It's a late night pod tonight,
the thing
fella.
Is you can listen to it whenever you want.
Yeah.
But we're just to set the scene. We're recording this on a Monday night, 10 p.m.
Oh, it's
a different vibe.
It is past businss hours.
Yeah. It's a little more sultry.
This is the R-rated episode.
This is Cleveland Rock's After Dark. How you doing?
Oh, I'm doing great, buddy.
I feel like it's always great when you sit down and you watch these,
just
rascals
a little,
get into trouble.
I mean, just to take nothing like a '90s sitcom to make you realize that. I mean, really, nothing matters. Nothing nothing like specifically a '90s sitcom that was like this man's probably magnum opus, but has been completely forgotten.
It's been, Ozymandias, like, just erased by sand.
Yeah, and it's kind of nice.
Yeah.
I find it reassuring because none of this matters.
He's doing okay.
Oh,
He hosts a game show now.
He hosts The Price is Right.
Yeah, and you think about him in the late 90s just killing himself over this, maybe.
Yeah, that had to be rough. I can't imagine the amount of work that went into, not just this show, but every sitcom.
Yeah.
If you have a sitcom with your name on it, and you're the guy that's in every single scene, you're helping write each episode. I mean, yeah, of course, we both work in TV. You have plenty of producers and writers and set designers. Right. Everyone, is there and has the same goal.
Your name on it, So when we last left off, we were talking about we had gotten our first full arc of the Drew Carey show, which was Drew going to court over a hostile work environment.
Yeah.
And we got a resolution in episode 7. This is going to be episodes 7 and 8, back to back. We're almost halfway. Well, no,
I bet you guys didn't think we'd make it this far.
We're almost halfway through season 1. Kind of. When we get to episode 11. So we got 2 more episodes to get halfway.
When I was typing up my notes, I was typing in Ep 7, and I'm like, dude, can you even imagine getting to episode 182 or whatever?
It's nuts. And then there's like 200 something. So when you get to 180, you're going to be like,
oh God.
But it's good. But I mean, it's still good quality stuff, I'd say.
It's a great... Yeah. It's a great little show, and I'm sure it gets better. You can see it finding its footing. Totally. Getting some of the more obscure kind of storylines or like weird characters that come in. I feel like the people you meet in the first couple episodes, it's all just... here are the normies that live in Cleveland.
Here's the regulars, and now we're getting into the freaks.
Yeah, you think these guys are weird? Just wait, till you find out they have relatives.
Wait until, oh my God! Oh, we're getting ahead of it. Let's start with Drew in court. Another perfect carpool cold open, I would say. Not perfect, but it's pretty funny.
Yes.
So Drew's in another goddamn office carpool.
Because how else are you going to start
this? The anti-smokers carpool? Is that what it was?
It was the former smoker carpool.
So they're all like people that are quitting cold.
Yeah, they're all trying their best to get over it. They make a reference to nicotine gum, etc.
Drew finds a pack of cigarettes, makes them all sing in order to, even have a chance of getting that sweet, sweet puff.
Right.
I really enjoyed Drew making a comment about the driving in the alcoholics carpool.
Yeah.
And he's basically like, listen, sometimes you don't get to work, but at least they're more fun than you guys.
Right, because these people...
They're so uptight.
Miserable.
So uptight.
I mean, I don't know. I never met, I guess, people trying to quit smoking.
That were having a good time?
Cold turkey, though.
Yeah.
I've just never met those people, period.
Yeah.
Everyone in my life is like, smoking's great.
Right. Or they'll do the Zyn or the patch.
Yes.
But I don't know. It's, they were really uptight. It's very funny.
Yeah.
And Drew's also...
And Drew can't even play the radio. It's back to this dynamic where Drew just wants to have fun, and all these people just don't. They're not here for his nonsense.
They don't get it.
Yeah, but they all know he's in court. The court trial now. The interesting thing now he's raising money. People know he's defending himself over this harassment trial, so the office is all aware.
They're all abuzz.
Yes.
And that's where we kind of get into the first scene of Drew preparing, I guess we'll say, for the court case. Ostensibly just winging it, hoping his best. He's calling up lawyers and just kind of cold calling them,
yeah.
asking.
Well, he was doing he was putting on a show with a pop quiz.
Right.
He was
He's Drew Smith, I believe, from the Cleveland Legal Center or something.
Just trying to quiz all these random lawyers in the phone book. So yeah, you can imagine he was calling them and just be like, so if there was a sexual harassment case or in a workplace case,
what would you do?
What would you do? And then he's writing down all their answers and everything. So
that's very good.
Drew getting his free legal advice. He's a schemer.
He's a schemer.
That's what we're learning.
Dreamer. We also have Lewis and Kate helping out, but like it's Lewis not really helping out at all. Lewis is looking at like Salem witch trial stories.
Well, I do love this. Is like there's maybe the third time we've seen Lewis just reading.
Yeah.
He is a janitor, to remind you all. But on some level, he seems to be this intellectual. I don't know I feel like I've seen him, but like in this scene, he's carrying a giant book. Mm-hmm. But like I don't know, he was reading in previous.
He's into science fiction.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
Lewis,
he presents himself as he's smarter than he lets on. I would say.
Yeah,
I think he's my favorite of the gang characters.
The
Ryan, I think he's yours as well.
Easily. I mean, he's. Although I will say, episode 8, I won't get ahead of myself. Don't like him as much.
Interesting.
Turn me off of him.
For the whole, you mean thus far? Or do you
it was a demerit.
Yeah, I feel that. Kate also trying to help. She's trying to dig up dirt on Nora, the woman that's suing Drew. She cannot find anything. We end up getting like photos of like teens smoking cigarettes.
Yeah.
She's just all of disgusted by
she
things.
devolves into just like an artist rant. This is hunger.
Look at society
crumbling.
Yeah, but ultimately worthless. Oh, Drew makes a move, which I just find kind of funny. To protect his assets, he signs away his car to Kate and his house to Lewis in an attempt to just make sure that if he does owe a significant amount of damages, he doesn't have to give away anything, really.
Yeah.
I do like the idea. And then Lewis makes a joke about not wanting that to be his first house. I kind of wanted something Drew's nice. House.
I like Drew's house.
I think it's really nice.
Spacious. It like the kitchen's fucking huge.
The backyard's good.
It's got the backyard.
Got a
shed. But it's like also a garage.
Yeah.
And I like Drew's house. I think and it's got a pool table in the backyard. How could you hate it?
Now, do you think he signs with a pool table, or is that an asset still that he has? Because that's not part of it.
No, I think that comes with the house.
You think it does?
That's basically how. I mean, I feel like I've seen houses like my friend. One of my friends from high school, his grandparent died, and they had a pool table in the basement. Mm-hmm. And they just left it there.
Yeah.
And they were like, well, we're just going to fucking sell the house with the pool table because why not? I mean, it fit perfectly in the space. It's not always, it's not often you get a space that fits it so well. Now, I'm sure that, like, people came through and they're like, can you fucking get rid of this? But, I mean, we had a pool table in our house growing up, and my mom just wanted to get rid of it so bad. She's like, it's just taking up space. I didn't want to.
It would kind of be nice. I don't know.
Maybe. Oh, it's a fun game. It's not, and like you're not going to go out and buy one.
No.
People are only looking to get rid of them. Mm-hmm. It was clear. It was almost like a fad of an era. It seemed
the pool table.
The pool table. Not like look. Billiards is popular now. I love it.
Yeah.
But like in a bar or out at a hall.
Yeah.
To have in your home
pool table.
I mean, there are only like weird billiards dudes on Instagram
let
only
alone
have that
in
now.
Your backyard.
Right. To advertise to your neighbors. Yeah, I have.
The true selling point.
The one line from this scene, though, that I liked was Drew get frustrated with the whole thing.
Yeah.
And he goes, what even is sexual harassment? And then Ryan flips to it in a dictionary or whatever book he has. And he was like, it's any unwanted sexual advance. And Drew's like, well, damn it, that's all of my sexual advances.
Self-deprecating Drew Carey.
Poor guy.
Yeah.
He has such riz, and he doesn't even know.
If you could only see the riz that you had in my eyes.
From afar.
Yeah. From here we are 30 years later almost, and let me tell you.
Drew would clean up in this day and age.
Do you think that's true?
100%. Like this version of Drew?
We just need like a repaint, like a Carhartt beanie, and like we get him in and that's it.
Stylish streetwear.
Yeah.
And a beanie and some like trendy glasses. But like otherwise, you can even keep his glasses.
Yeah.
It's a look.
Yeah.
But like that kind of guy's getting laid in Brooklyn, I think.
That guy's calling himself bisexual and selling $7 coffee. Yeah, absolutely. You know what I mean? So we then go to the office. Drew is still making, a whole to-do about the cartoon. He's interviewing, I would say, an all-star salesman. The guy's like apparently salesman of the year or salesman of the month or something from wherever he's coming from. And the final question in his interview is, what do you think of that cartoon? And the guy, seemingly on board, aware of what's going on, is like, oh yeah, it's great. It's good. Then Drew tries to continually set him up with offensive jokes. So he's like setting up the same setup to a joke over and over.
Yeah.
Of a priest, a rabbi, and a Polak. Is that what it is? Or priest, a rabbi, and two feminists.
And a gay guy.
Yeah. Just continually adding on. It's good.
And the guy doesn't... Well, no. And then after Drew's done with his bit and they've clearly moved on from this scene, the guy's like, I think Hitler was in that joke too.
Okay, buddy.
And he's like, all right, buddy, I think we're done with this. Just... Okay.
I do like a full beat after. Well, they're interrupted in the middle of it because Mimi comes by to tell Drew, new office policy, no personal displays of objects or calendars or images up on the wall, clearly because of Drew's cartoon and all the fuss it's created. That does come back later. I thought it was just like a weird one-off thing, but it does tie in. We then go, basically, to the courtroom scene.
Oh, yeah.
We got
enter a new place.
Enter a new place.
The fifth place that we have.
Yeah.
And it is this, little city courtroom.
So it's like, there's no jury. I was expecting a jury for some reason, but then it's just like it's a civil court case, I guess, then.
Yes.
Okay. And we see Drew.
It would be civil court, this kind of.
Suspenders. Which I, as a big man, I respect the fuck out of the suspenders with the suit move. It's a very nice look. They're all riffing on him, though. Well, what is it that Lewis says? It's something like, Drew says, oh, I'm ready for a debate. And then Lewis goes, yeah, it looks like you're going to debate Lincoln. Like,
yeah.
Fuck that, man. No.
I like the suspenders look. I think we should, the first time I really wore suspenders non-ironically was at like a wedding I went to. I was in my brother's wedding and it was part of the tuxedo. I thought it was an awesome look because then like when you're in real party mode, and which Drew ends up getting it at some point, you take them off, you let them hang to the side.
It's pop them off. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. It's beautiful. I've never really worn them at a wedding. I guess I haven't been to that many weddings, to be fair. But I think it's a great look. It's worth adopting. Drew Carey, Larry King. There has to be other people wearing suspenders that I can't think of.
It's a lot of old people.
A lot of old people.
We tried to get my dad on suspenders for a bit.
Was he not cool with them?
It was because his pants just kept falling off. he just, my dad, for context, doesn't really have much in the back seat.
Okay.
So, and he buys his pants or his shorts either a little too big or they're just so old that he's lost whatever he had in the back seat.
Sure.
And that they continue. One story that comes to mind, we were painting a shed one day and he was reaching up real high with both his hands and all I heard was just and I looked over and there he is in his whitey tighties painting the top of the shed with his pants around his ankles. So anyway, I bought him suspenders, but he said I think they made him look too old. He felt self-conscious about it. So
I understand that. Have you considered instead of suspenders, maybe we get your dad a Brazilian butt lift? That'd be kind of nice. You roll up to Thanksgiving next year and it's just your dad looking like fresh out of a Megan Thee Stallion video. That'd be kind of nice. I don't know, man. I loved the whole court thing. Maybe it was just a new place to be.
Yeah, well, I'm just like, I'm excited that it's a new. Also, just
Things
the idea
to play
that
with.
he's
Drew
defending himself.
The stenographer, the court stenographer.
Yeah,
he kind of screws himself immediately by being like, Your Honor, this should be dismissed because it's a frivolous lawsuit and we're all wasting our time. You could go back to doing something much better, like modeling, presumably, flattery.
Yeah.
The judge then points out, the female judge then points out, you're on trial for sexual harassment.
You want to rephrase that?
Yeah, and then he notices the court typist and just continues to yell at her, stop typing that. She continues to type.
And then he ends it with, the person who types this is an idiot.
Yeah, she does stop typing. So it works. But like dumb little shit like that we get to
just like the idea that it was a perfect like here they were taking this seriously, at least the other legal team and a judge, and you're in a courtroom, and Drew's just like, if I win this, some drinks are on me to the courtroom. So
we should also point out the whole gang is there, ready to support their boy.
Not only are they there, they're all witnesses.
Yeah, they all end up being on the stand. It's
which I guess at first I was like, oh really? They're all just but I guess it makes sense if it's a trial against his character. Bring the only 3 people it seems that Drew knows.
Yeah, that would be willing.
To defend
also,
him.
Kate works there, so that
made more sense. But when Oswald was up there, I was like, oh,
this is
all right.
Bizarre. I enjoyed a lot of the people on the stand. I enjoyed Mimi at first. First of all, this is a great point that I hadn't thought about with this whole legal case. They're assuming that French fry is a woman. We're assuming the gender of the French fry.
Wait, that was a great legal point. I thought it was a great little line.
And Drew scores points off of that by being like, Mimi makes some comment while she's on there that she thought the comic was sexist, that it, the caterpillar was forcing his way onto her. And Drew was like, it's a French fry.
And then they were trying to discuss the why, they're assuming it's a woman. Uh-huh. And they were talking about, well, the French fry is getting mounted by the caterpillar. And Drew's like, well, men can get mounted.
Sometimes. Some men. We also, I don't want to get ahead of it, we do finally see the comic strip. Because we were saying last time we don't see it.
Let's not get ahead of it, though. Because that's a good reveal towards the end.
It is.
But there is a moment in between because this trial, I guess, is 2 days for whatever reason.
Nobody had anything going on.
But... so after there's a midpoint in the trial where they do end up at the Warsaw, of course, for drinks.
Well, that evening.
Yeah, that evening to kind of recap. That's when Drew takes off his suspenders. So we see Drew letting loose. But then, of course, there are more of his coworkers at this bar. That's what I was blown away from.
The only
place to go. Because all of a sudden, a guy from across the bar that apparently Drew works with starts hurling French fries at him, saying, thanks a lot, Carey. I had to take down my swimsuit calendar.
Yeah, I couldn't remember what it was. I put Babe of the Month, but I think
it might have been a Babe of the Month.
Some sort of sexy pet-up thing.
Yes, exactly.
It's just childish. And then all of them, apparently also, they went to high school with him. Oswald makes a comment about he's wanted to beat this kid up since high school.
Yeah. So
it's the smallest place on earth is Cleveland. Everybody knows everyone.
Everyone knows everyone. Yeah. As we'll also find out, I guess, in episode 8, another character comes in the fold, and what he knows just.
But yeah, so then Drew's trying to be the bigger man the whole time. He's getting these fries pelted at him. But eventually it just reaches a point where he has to go over, and they start...
He gets physical.
It's a giant brawl between him, this guy, and then the whole gang jumps in.
Yeah.
Cut to the next morning. Drew is late to the second day of court, and we see him. He's escorted in by a bailiff, and he's in handcuffs.
In the same clothes, covered in ketchup.
Yes. And, basically, it turns out he was arrested for aggravated assault and spent the night in jail because the bailiffs, or the police said he needed to cool off.
Once he gets in, he's like, yeah, can we hurry this up, too? Because I got another trial in an hour.
We finally, day 2 is mostly... Oh, well, we did skip over as well on day 1, I just want to say, the other people on the stand. A psychiatrist who just kind of gives blanket statements about what workplace harassment could look like.
Yeah.
Drew asks if he finds the comic funny. He says no. He says, well, what do you find funny? He says, Polly Shore. Nice. Good. But anyway, day 2 is mostly entirely the gang. So Kate goes first. Kate gives a great testimony in defense of Drew, and then when he asks if it was funny, she says it was so funny. And she almost alludes to getting, I believe, a lower back tattoo of the comic strip.
Right.
And then Drew realizes that she's going to be the worst goddamn witness he could have ever called. To the point where he's objecting in her statements that even though he's called her, and the judge is like, she's your witness, and he goes, not anymore. Oswald's bit was just kind of like, he's very flat, but it's very clear Drew's bribing him.
Drew's just paying him to be on the stand.
Yeah.
Ryan, who they cut to him, and he's just a total ball of nerves, sweating, holding on to the sides of the witness stand. and then he's what does he say
yes.
specifically? Yes, no, I don't know.
Maybe,
yeah.
And then we learn the question is he's swearing.
He's swearing. Well, do you swear to tell
the whole truth,
nothing but the truth?
He just can't answer, so they cart him off basically almost immediately. Drew gives a closing statement that ostensibly is just lighten up people.
Yeah, that's literally what he says at the end. In summation,
anymore.
Lighten up.
Yeah. Tiananmen Square. I wrote down Tiananmen Square and big ass tank, but I can't remember what that is.
It was the guy at Tiananmen Square was just trying to tell a knock joke.
Yeah,
that was it.
That was it.
But his whole thing was lighten up.
Yeah.
But in this moment is where we do finally see
a blow up
version of this cartoon. Because before, in that first episode, I was annoyed because I think I missed the description 3 episodes ago now of what we were actually talking about. So then you see it, and it's
pretty goofy. It's pretty good. It is a caterpillar on a crinkle cut French
mounting
fry.
a French fry.
Yeah, and the French fry has a caption. And
it's an anthropomorphic French fry.
Yeah, because it talks. And there's no face or anything, but it talks, and it just says, "Hey, take it easy. I'm a French fry."
Mm-hmm. Anyway,
we see
Drew went to court.
Drew went to court
for that.
We see, and then the judge weighs in. It's almost certain Drew's going to lose this at this point. But the judge miraculously is like, it's a comic strip of a French fry.
Of a caterpillar and a French fry.
Yeah. And rules that it's frivolous and dismisses it.
So Drew wins.
I'm glad. I figured, obviously. But I'm glad to see logic prevail.
See, I don't know if it was obvious. I was wondering how... I figured he was going to lose a little bit. All we've seen Drew do is take L's.
Yeah. He needed a dub.
Yeah.
We're 6 episodes
They got to make... We're all rooting for him, so eventually you have to give us something.
Also, it is literally a caterpillar on a French fry.
Right, it is kind of stupid.
He does not help himself the whole time. Despite all of that, Drew wins.
No.
It's beautiful.
He's beautiful. And then they obviously go to celebrate at the Warsaw, and they give him a candle and a burger for Drew. A man after my own heart, really.
Truly, yeah.
That I've never thought about, cake's fine, right? But if somebody rolled up with a giant burger, and I had, 28 candles in that this birthday, wink, that'd be awesome.
I'm taking a note. I'm writing down, folks. You can't see, but I know what I'm going to do for DJ's birthday. Lewis brings out an actual caterpillar and presents it to a French fry. And then the caterpillar mounts the French fry in real life.
And Oswald gets horny.
Oswald gets a little horny. He says, "Am I the only one that's getting turned on by this?" And everybody else moves away.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess
I don't know how I'd feel about that.
Again, would you get horny if you watched a caterpillar mount a French fry?
I'm gonna say no. Where do I find the courage to say that I would show a little self-restraint of a caterpillar mounting a French fry? Is it thrusting? These are the questions.
I mean, I feel like the way a caterpillar moves, there's natural thrusts.
There's inherent. The caterpillar is inherently
because it does like inch.
Instinct. Yeah. Right? The whole body has to...
Yeah, and it's already... Twitch. It is sexual. It's a phallic shape. Yeah. The caterpillar, not the French fries.
Right. Well, also the French fry.
I guess a French
Unless
fry.
It's a curly fry. Well, then it's phallic. It's not phallic.
That's what a duck penis looks like. For the... I don't know.
That is... you know what? When I get the curly fries, I'm like, oh, man, it's a corkscrew penis.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The ducks... That's going to be tough.
What we think of the ducks. Where do the ducks go in the winter? That's it. That's the end of the first arc. Now I know what you're thinking. Oh boy, are we going to get another arc like this?
Oh boy, do we?
Fucking no. No, we don't really.
Oh, well,
the next one's a pretty self-contained episode.
It's a self-contained episode, but we do get of my former favorite character back in the fold.
We see Lisa. That
is
true.
Lisa does come back, and Drew and Lisa are still having a banter or something. We'll get into it here, but
it's only because though
that's going to be a long arc.
Absolutely, she's back. She was in episode 2, disappeared until episode 8.
Yeah,
we're willing to pepper her in. That's nice. Episode 8. I want to just say, obviously, episode 7 was called Drew in Court. Episode 8, Lewis's sister.
Oh, wow, we really have departed from...
Yeah, we're not really getting into
what were some of those other ones?
Titles.
Yeah.
It's like, What were some?
The network was like, we don't need.
We don't got to get fancy with it.
Yeah.
No. I don't need to. It doesn't have to sound like a 7th grade science textbook. I think is what we called it before.
Right.
Basketball is war. We see Coach Drew enters. This is the cold open for this episode.
Enter 6th place. Now
Yes.
at this point, I'm gonna stop keeping track of the places, guys. But just know we've now expanded Cleveland to a few buildings at least.
Absolutely.
And one of which is a basketball court.
We kind of get the Cleveland Rock and Roll Hall of Fame here, but we don't. They don't show
Tell, don't show.
Tell, don't show.
But I wonder where this gym is. They don't really explain.
It's also like
I was like, is this a rec center? Is this a school?
I know that
Why is he doing it?
So it's Drew's company sponsors the team.
Right.
And like they play other companies, like they're playing Chuck E. Cheese next week,
and they play Babies Are Us,
Baby Gap or something. But I don't understand who are these. So anyway, Drew is giving a very long and intense speech about you have to give your all out there. I want to see blood, sweat, and tears. And then it's revealed that it's like a middle school girl basketball team.
Yeah.
So it's just all these young girls that like really aren't thrilled with Drew being their coach. Kate, it's revealed, is his assistant coach. Mm-hmm. She brings a little more fun, a little more femininity to it.
Sure. Just not a total hard ass.
Yeah.
Drew's a lot.
Yeah.
For these little
and I don't
girls.
think Drew can play basketball, would be my guess.
No, that's the other thing. I didn't see Drew do one remotely athletic thing in that gymnasium.
No, I haven't seen him really do one remotely athletic thing since we started watching this show.
This is the first time we've seen his knees.
Yeah. He is wearing some pretty nice shorts. He's wearing some damn good shorts. So yeah, I really do wonder who these girls are and how they ended up being on Drew's team. But
I do like the moment that him and Kate have, because he's trying to remain this hard ass in front of the girls.
Right.
And Kate comes over and she's like, "Don't worry about it, girls. Drew's harmless," and she rubs his belly. He's like, "Kate, don't rub my belly. When we're in a business meeting, do I come over and honk your breasts?"
Yes.
No.
I get that though. Don't touch my belly. You a big belly guy?
I think
you don't have to
rubbing a belly is, I think, endearing.
No.
It's definitely soft. Like it's a soft. Like you can't look tough.
No. Nobody's ever looked hard with somebody petting their stomach. We then go. That was the cold open. We then go into Drew's house. Drew, it's a Browns game, right? We don't really say it.
Yeah, but he's making his mom's beer chili for the Browns game. Everyone, no, they do say it. Oswald's like, "Oh, come on, the Browns game's almost on."
And
they're all wearing the Browns clothes.
It's true. Yeah.
So this made me just think a little bit about contextually. I don't know what year did this episode come out, but
95, I think.
95. Okay, so the Browns won 5 games in 1995.
Oh, you got the football research.
I was like, because now that we had, we're talking about a little Cleveland sports. I was like, God, I'm a Steeler fan.
Yeah. Yinzer.
I hate Cleveland and I hate the Browns so much. So just so everyone knows, well, Bill Belichick, he was the coach for a good chunk of the 90s.
Yeah.
But I mean, they had a couple of 2-win seasons, 5-win season. They were under 500 every single year except for 1994. They went to one divisional playoff game. So anyway,
wow, that's a weird fluke.
Yeah.
To go for you said
they went 11
season.
Yeah, they went 11-5 though in 1994.
Wow.
Followed up by 5-11.
Well, this was 1995. So yeah, you said followed up by what?
Yeah, they went 5-11 this year.
Yeah, I hope they were watching a good one.
Yeah, I hope they were watching one of the pathetic 5 wins.
Either that or they have to have more beer in that chili.
Right.
Everybody's over there. Kate's over there. Oswald's over there. Lewis comes through, and Lewis brings his sister Janet. She's, this older blonde woman. Hangs out with them. She brings her daughter Monica. Monica's about 10 years old.
Well, at first we kind of see little chemistry with Drew and Janet. Yeah. Drew's kind of, doing the Carey thing, raising her up a little bit.
She's from Cleveland, obviously.
She was in California.
Right, and she's moving back.
She's moving back. Also, she's like, I wanted to show my daughter snow.
Yes, and that leads to one of my favorite Drew lines is lots of people come to Cleveland for the snow, but they stay for the slush. Pretty good. The daughter is from California, and like it's very telling. Like she's a vegan or vegetarian. She's arguing with Drew about while he's making his chili. Like I watched a nature documentary, and it's not nice to see all these animals killed. And he goes, but it tastes good.
Yeah,
that's all his counterpoint is, which is very Drew. It's very American at that point.
Yeah,
let me eat the animal.
Yes, just eat the animal. It tastes good. Mm-hmm. What age are kids allowed to be vegetarians? Like I guess
any age.
Like you can give a kid has some autonomy over their life, and a parent won't force them to eat something they don't want.
Right.
Lots of kids, if it were up to them, they wouldn't eat vegetables. Absolutely. And she just wants to eat vegetables, so I'm sure it's not the worst thing. But I was just like, this bratty 10-year-old giving me I'm a vegetarian. I don't know how I feel about that.
There's a moral implication.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's also probably, I wonder, because we don't really see, well, we'll get to Janet later. I was going to bring up a thing, but that comes up later. But Janet, I don't know if she's vegetarian.
Oh, yeah. I don't think she is.
I think it's just a thing that this girl picked up in California.
Yeah.
It's like some sort of
California
wasteland. You know what I mean?
Yeah. They couldn't hang with the beer chili eating Appalachia folks.
Not even kind of. Not even for a second. Jules would break her brain if they met the neighbors at this point. We then learned, though, over conversation, that Drew and Janet sort of had a little thing when they were as younger, as
summer
teenagers,
camp.
Something summer camp. Kate says they got really hot and heavy at summer camp. Oswald says she was hot, Drew was heavy. So there's established that these two were a fling, were a thing for a moment.
And she kind of lights up a little bit around him, too. Yeah. This is the first you see it. Normally we're used to, at this point, Drew getting rejected by most people of the opposite sex. So it was interesting to see this woman. But I feel like the strong implication from the get-go with her is just like she's out of a messy divorce. She has a kid. She just wants something. She needs something.
She's looking for stability.
Yes.
Yes. And what is more stable than a supervisor at a department store?
Yeah, Drew Carey, the most stable guy around, who just had to represent himself in court.
Yeah. who almost had everything taken from him for a sexual harassment
fucking cartoon.
Yeah, the most stable man I could think of. Obviously, because we brought up the chili, we brought up football. I was unaware until you see all the exterior shots. It's winter now. It's like full ass winter.
Yeah,
snow
they're
on
all
the
in
ground.
sweatshirts.
Yeah, it's anyway, just something.
I haven't really followed the seasons here.
Yeah, I was unaware until they made such a big deal out of it with the exterior shots that we are now at a different season. But time has passed. I like time passing. I think it's nice. Yeah. Time should pass.
Time should pass. We should move on.
We should move on. Yes.
It shouldn't just be
endless summer.
Endless summer in Cleveland. As romantic as that sounds.
God, I'm just getting hot thinking about it.
All the trips to the shores of Lake Erie.
We're in the office, and Drew has somehow earned Rolling Stone tickets at the Cleveland Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Oh yeah, it was like one of his temps, his 100th temp was just
temp
hired. Yeah.
So I don't know, the temp agency, I guess, offered him.
They really didn't explain it, but he had free tickets to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame Rolling Stones concert.
Which you're like, oh boy, we're gonna see the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. No,
they don't even give you a nibble. They give you a T-shirt, but we already seen this T-shirt.
We've seen the T-shirt. Drew just has the T-shirt. He tries to get all of the friends to go. Oswald's got a DJ gig at a senior house, I believe, and he says, I don't know when it's going to be over, but it's usually whenever the first senior just falls.
Yeah.
Kate doesn't like the Rolling Stones. To be fair, I'm glad, even in 1995, nobody knows any new Rolling Stones songs.
Right. They were like,
put out an album this year. I could not tell you a single song from it.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
I like Kate. That's so funny because that's what Kate says in 94 or 90, whatever year this is. She's
middle
like,
of the 90s.
Can you name one song from their new album? And Drew's just like, it's the Rolling Stones, which would be same thing we all say today.
So it's then decided maybe Drew should get back out there. Maybe he should take Janet on a date.
But
go see the Rolling Stones.
Before we get to that moment, there is a thing where he's like, oh, what? But he's like, I'm saving myself for Lisa. Mm-hmm. And that's the first time we've heard Lisa's name again in 6 episodes. Yeah. Which I'm thrilled about. I thought Lisa was great in that episode, and they had a good chemistry, so glad she's back. But that's the first we've heard about it. So anyway, they're still weird about the office relationship with Lisa, so ultimately they settle on, I'm going to take Janet out. Mm-hmm. They had a little bit of a thing before.
Lewis enters, and we learn that Lewis is like not fucking cool with it at all.
Drew dating his sister. What are you doing? But ultimately, Drew ultimately is just like, listen, you know what? It's fine. It's a harmless date. What could possibly go wrong? And then Lewis kind of rolls over and goes, hey, whatever. I'm cleaning my hands of it. Right. Well, no. Before he does that, whenever he's arguing, he's like, it's not cool. What if I dated your mom? I was like,
it's different.
That's a reach.
It's different.
That's a reach. As much as I want to defend Lewis here. Yeah. And as much as Lewis ends up getting vindicated. Right. Yeah. But either way, cut to post-date already.
They can't hear anything because of how close they were sitting to a speaker.
Yeah.
But the vibe is off, I would say.
Drew's wearing an awesome Cleveland Browns jacket. Just to put it out there.
Yeah.
Leather, weird, like that's leather sports coats are so funny.
I like that you're noticing very specifically the wardrobe choices.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I saw that leather coat, and again, I'm like, that's something, I don't know. That the people, we're killing cows to make, like,
they won 5 games that year. We killed a cow
to make a fucking coat for this fat guy. Because he likes the Browns. His 5-win Browns.
This is unrelated. It's also a little bit of a stray. I don't know if we've talked about this. The Browns logo sucks.
Oh my god, that little awful. Elf.
Well, the elf, but that's not on the jacket. Just even the orange helmet.
Oh yeah. No, it's lame. The whole get up they have is lame.
Yeah. But the vibe,
anyway, the vibe is off.
The vibe's off. Vibe is off. No matter how cool that jacket is, Drew's not feeling it. Lisa goes in for a kiss.
She's feeling it.
She's feeling it. And Drew deftly turns it into a hug. And then they part their ways. Kate is inside watching from the window, and Drew basically is like, hey, what you doing over there? She asks how the date went. And Drew basically says he's not interested in her because she's boring, which... It's interesting. I
like how blunt he was with it.
She's very into numbers.
He was apparently talking about numbers, which that's a character trait we hadn't seen.
Right.
She, I guess, is just really into statistics and numbers. I don't even think we know what she does for a living.
Right. I'm assuming it has to be something with numbers. Otherwise, if it's not something with numbers, like she might have some sort of weird mental thing.
Autism?
Yeah, she might be autistic. I don't know. But anyway, so she's not interested, but Drew did say he's interested in Monica, who I guess was also there? It's not clear, but he talks about how much like he likes the kid and he wants her on the basketball team. But I don't think she was at the date.
So no, she was. But they alluded to the fact that she was at the date, right?
Oh, right.
Because he was showing her bits of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and then he made some remark about how he was showing how one of these guys at the concert vomits or vomiting correctly.
Right.
Kate has this great joke that's like, you would think these rock stars know how to throw up. I mean, they date models.
It's a good joke. It's very good.
Yeah.
But yeah, so why was she, I guess they could consider.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's a little
Drew
only had 2 tickets.
Where'd the third one come from? Did they let kids under the age of 10?
Kids under 11 get in for free.
Yeah. To the Rolling Stones concert. You're going to love them. You don't know any of their songs, but you're going to love them.
We don't know them either anymore, apparently.
No. So, the next scene.
We cut back, and we're back at the office. Mm-hmm. Lisa's back now. Yeah. Enter Lisa for the first time in 6 episodes. She's going through a filing cabinet near Drew's desk, which is apparently, they say, something that, like, Drew has been, and they've been setting up these weird meetings for their not relationship. It's
a little bit of a rendezvous point.
Yeah, and they talk flirtatiously.
Sure.
Drew was like, I had a dream about you last night. Or she said she had a dream about him, and Drew was like, I had a dream about you last night. Mm-hmm. And Drew was like, you were on fire, and I was putting you out with a big hose. And then there's a big laugh break.
Yeah.
And then he's like, then you were my mother, and my hands fell off. I don't know what it means.
She's like, you shouldn't tell people about your dreams.
Yeah.
It's the rare Drew.
Drew doesn't have it in this
no,
moment.
No. But yeah, so we find out that they've kind of been doing this on and off. He tells her basically, I've been cheating on you. And he's like, and then Lisa goes, you're not seeing another woman? Who isn't she? Like, I just thought it was very funny, sort of, you know. But yeah, so then he can kind of tells her about Janet, but he's like, I'm not interested in her really. And then Janet shows up at the office unannounced. Surprise second date happening in real time at Drew's office at his desk.
At his desk with a big picnic cloth over top.
Yeah, she gives him the option chicken salad or tuna salad.
Yeah.
We're just going to have a big picnic.
And not only that,
around.
the kid is here.
The kid's there. The kid breaks into a musical number.
Yeah, well, Janet pulls out a harmonica and blows like a C.
Yeah.
And then the kid breaks into song about their new friend Drew.
Yeah. Everybody's just
what
watching.
The fuck?
Drew's got to get that out.
This?
Yeah. But I also understand the morbid curiosity. Could you imagine if you went into the office and some rando lady just started
that you went on one
picnic?
date with had a picnic set up?
Yeah.
And then all your coworkers were watching? I mean...
No good. So it's a bold move for a second date.
No, she swung.
So Drew's got to end things. He doesn't know how to at this point, but he has to.
He's too nice.
So he's asking Kate and Oswald for their advice. It doesn't really get anything good. Lewis enters.
There's a funny moment at the beginning. So we're cutting to the next scene. They're at his house, and Kate and Oswald are like, "Are we sure chili's still good after 5 days?"
They're still eating that fucking
They're just
chili.
still eating that nasty beer chili.
The answer is no. The answer is no, buddy. He doesn't describe it as like metallic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bubbly.
What would make it get metallic and bubbly? Oh God.
I guess it was maybe it's still in the pot.
Oh, it's true. Yeah, he might have lead poisoning. Be careful out there, Oswald. Wow.
Episode 9, Oswald's no longer with us.
Episode 9 is just called Oswald's Funeral. I don't know. So yeah, Drew's trying to figure out now after this disastrous second date that's caused so much attention how to end things quietly and nicely. Lewis enters the scene after Kate and Oswald basically don't have any advice for him. And Drew's like, hey man, your sister's kind of a nut. I think you were right. I don't think this is going to work out. There's really
not only that, he does it in a song, which is that's an extraordinarily disrespectful way to tell someone their family member's crazy.
Yeah, your sister's nuts and like doing it to music, but you know.
But then again, she just sang him a song,
right? So I think that's why it was fresh in the mind. Does Lewis know this? I don't think he does. I think he tells Drew that he hears it's going really well, and I'm sure he's hearing it from. What's her side of this? You know what I mean?
Well, her side is that
everything's coming up. Daisies.
Everything's great because she needs him. She wants him. This is it.
Yeah.
She found him and she's trying to lock it down. Yeah, right. So that's the story she's telling Ryan.
Right.
But then Ryan basically brings him in close. Doesn't want to hear any of the stuff that his sister's a nut, and he's like, if you hurt her, they will not find a piece of you.
I know how. I work as a janitor. I know how to dispose of something.
Right.
I believe is the line. Yeah, he's done a complete 180 here. He was originally like, I don't want you involved with her, and now it's like you have to be with her.
Yeah.
It's really it's an interesting.
And this is going back. Yeah, going back to my demerit for Lewis here is just like I thought he was one of the boys. And
fella. You can't help me out.
He doesn't. He can't even see that his sister's a nut job. Mm-hmm. I mean, I get family's family, but come on.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway.
It's rough. I would like to think I'd be the bigger man if my sister was causing trouble with, I don't know, you or somebody, you know? Maybe that might have gotten too personal real quick, but you know what I mean?
Right, yeah.
I think I would tell you, my sister's being a nut job.
Sure.
Yeah.
Cringy moment, though, for Ryan there. Yeah. I was like, all right. But whatever. Now we have our setup here. Now this is why Drew has to still be polite.
Sure, yeah. And it's also now Monica, they're in way too deep because Monica's now on the basketball team that we started out with.
Oh, yeah.
And not only
they're cut to the gym now.
Cut to the gym. Not only is Monica on the basketball team, she is like Drew's biggest vocal defender. These other girls are so upset that he's making them run
She's
laps.
Yelling at the other girls about listening or to Drew or whatever.
Why are you kissing his butt? His butt is prettier than you.
Right.
All this stuff. Drew has to break it off between these girls that are fighting. Janet enters, and Drew finally musters up courage to tell her, hey, it's not going to work.
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna have to cut this off. Call it a day.
Before we get there, there is one good moment where she says, "Drew, you look good in shorts," and Drew's like, "Yeah, I'm on a step program. 1 step to the couch, 1 step to the fridge."
Classic
Carey.
fat guy joke.
Classic Carey.
Classic Carey.
But yeah, no. So Drew finally has the courage, and he's like, "We're gonna pull the plug. We're getting out of here."
He does talk. He remarks how he's never been on this side of the breakup, and he starts off by being like, "Hey, listen, you're a really nice guy, and it's not the haircut." And yeah, Janet takes it pretty well, I would say.
Not only that, we didn't even say the reason Drew finally is pushed to break it off. She asked him to get married.
That is true. Which I do also just want to point out Drew did to Lisa in episode 2.
Oh, fair. Okay. Everyone works real quick in Cleveland in 1994.
They want to lock it down, you know? Real estate prices are good. Let's make it happen. But yeah, no, she asked him to marry him, and he calls it off and goes, "No, we can't do this." She takes it well, though she does say, statistically...
She gives a few digs.
Statistically, it was probably his best shot. He's statistically likely to have one more sexual partner. He would have been a good father, and he would have been a good father until she was 18. And he goes, "Oh, because she's going to college?" And Janet goes, "No, because you're going to have a heart attack." Classic Janet. Classic. The closing scene.
And then we cut to the close, and it's the credits, and there we are with Lisa and Drew.
It's a very sweet
in
moment.
a car, and it's funny, in my notes I have, he's out on a date with Lisa now, question mark. Come to find out,
it ain't a date.
They had a workaround. Yeah. They're in the carpool home.
Mm-hmm.
And not only that, they do the carpool home with the oldest person in the office.
This elderly woman that's fallen asleep in the back seat.
Yeah.
They've driven around for 2 hours. They're having a little fast food date. We also learned that she's been
doing
fucking
Frank.
around with Frank. She's been doing Frank in footwear for years.
Yeah.
Ugh. God bless Frank. He's having a good time.
Yeah, is that Frank from the one episode where he needs to get fired? No.
Oh. That'd be crazy. That'd be crazy if that guy whose wife was cheating on him was also cheating on a woman with an 80-plus-year-old woman. I'd love that.
And that ends the ep.
That ends episode 8. That was, look, man, I think we're back to a serialized part of this. I'm sure we'll have another arc.
Yeah. I guess the arc that I was all about earlier was just like, oh, yeah, Lisa's back, and now so is, like, Drew having a love life. Though I'm sure that's not going to be everything.
Janet's probably going to be sticking around as well.
I mean, if she moved to Cleveland and the kid, and, like, she's Ryan's sister.
Yeah.
So
she'll be present.
It wouldn't be outrageous.
We're expanding the Drew Carey cinematic universe here.
Yeah. Lots of faces and names to remember.
I'm sure we're going to be great about all of them.
Oh, yeah. We're not going to forget.
I'm not going to be furiously looking back. What was her name?
I'm impressed with the amount that we've been able to call Lewis's episode and not Ryan.
Yeah. It's been good, He does, shout out Ryan Stiles. I know it's
he's excellent. Why isn't he... He really isn't in anything. But, I mean, God, is he funny? He's tall. I mean, funny and tall.
This sounds like you're making a Tinder profile for Ryan Stiles.
Yeah, I'm just saying, that's a shoo-in in Hollywood usually.
Yeah.
And
it is? Canadian.
Oh, I didn't realize.
Yeah. We don't like them. We want homegrown.
Colin Mockery, Canadian too, right?
I believe so.
They're all Canadian.
Yeah.
Why the fuck's Drew Carey friends with all these Canadian guys?
Oh, he's close enough to the border, isn't he?
Cleveland?
Yeah.
I guess.
No state above Cleveland. You're right.
Drew doesn't seem like a guy that can swim, though.
No, he can't swim. He can't play basketball. We have not seen him do a single athletic thing. Do you think we see Drew at any point this series? Or maybe have we already without his shirt? I'm trying to remember.
Oh, wow. That's interesting.
Yeah. Because you brought up swimming. I'm like, do we get a swimming app? Do we get a summer app?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I feel like I could see them putting Drew in a swimmy shirt.
Sure.
Because it's TV, like it's a cable sitcom. Like I don't know, swimmy shirt. Like nipples are a tough thing to put on TV.
Yeah, especially when
they're
male nipples.
Female, whatever.
Yeah. Well, female nipples for legal reasons. Male nipples, there's a societal standard.
that we just
We don't want to
show.
see Drew Carey's nipples on ABC.
No. So I'm going to go with no, but if you want to take yes, we can.
I'll take the yes.
All
We'll roll with this bet. We'll see if we ever get it at the end of season 1.
Yeah, who gets gloated?
we
Oh,
only
by the
have-
end of season 1?
Yeah, I think
Oh,
so.
definite no.
Definite no?
No chance.
We might see, I think we might see Drew nipple by the end of the show. I think season 1 specifically, I'm curious.
I guess if eventually they work in the Looney Tunes, it's not the craziest thing for Drew's nipples to make an appearance.
It's beautiful. Yeah, speaking of the end of season 1, 8 down. I can't do math. What's 22 minus 8? That's 14?
Mm-hmm.
14 to go until the end of season 1. And then we've got 7 more from there.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yes.
A couple more late night eps, and we're basically...
I like these late night apps.
They're nice. It's good. Just looking out at the darkness of Manhattan. I was going to say skyline.
Yeah, we're
looking out
we do from our penthouse
Yeah,
in
yeah,
the Upper
forever.
West Side. We're looking over Midtown
Ah,
Manhattan.
boy, look at that. I can see Zabars from here.
This is a glamorous show business life.
Thank you for listening.
Thank you, guys.
Have a great day, night.
Bye-bye.